In today's video, we're going to try to get more fuel into the pilot, so that way we can turn the boost up on the supercharger. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go do it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Texas Honda Channel. If you're new here, definitely consider subscribing. So in previous video, we put the M90 supercharger on with the prankparts adapter plate on the J35A4. Ended up installing the Apexi Neo and have the full detailed pinout and wiring on that. And we've got it adjusted pretty much the best we can. Ended up doing the EGR valve, where I basically just drilled a hole in the EGR valve, add a little nipple on there, and made it have vacuum source at all times. Therefore, the EGR valve light never comes back on. And now we're to this point where I was at 1.5 PSI last time you guys seen. Here's a little video clip of that. Not super amazing or fast or anything because of parasitic drag. As soon as we put the supercharger on, we instantly lost a little power. So I had to bump the boost up. So about 1 PSI makes it break even. I don't know if that makes sense, but just by adding boost, we're basically breaking even with the stock horsepower rating. So now from 1 PSI up, we'll definitely be making more power. So here's a little video clip of the air fuel ratios and stuff at 2.5 PSI. Well, as you can see, the air fuels are still decent, especially for the low boost settings. But we're going to run out of air fuel ratio here soon and it'll start leaning. But I did put a bolt here so I could slowly tighten this and it'll adjust the boost level right here. So what we plan on doing is fuel pressure regulator. So I got this one from a low mileage pilot at Budget Wrench Apart that was just rear end totaled, and every part I've pulled off of it, from the EGR valve to everything else, the throttle that's on here, all the parts have been in immaculate condition. It was a low mileage wreck car, so it was probably garage kept. But fuel pressure regulator is down there. You can kind of see the top hat right there. Real easy to take off. You got a fuel line for the return, a vacuum line for vacuum source, and then you unscrew it. It's pretty simple. So what we're going to be doing to bump the pressure up is taking this here, and we're going to be chopping the top hat off and installing one of these. You can get these on eBay real cheap. I'll leave a link in the description. And basically, it just bolts to the top, and then you still have a vacuum line. You can adjust the fuel pressure. You need a fuel pressure gauge for it to be accurate. I'm going to try to figure that out, but I want to at least get this cut and show you how to do that. So go ahead and get this chopped real quick. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to lightly cut around this, being very careful not to go too far down and not to just go right through it. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do this as carefully as I can. Here, presses down with this spring. So basically we put the spring in there like that. Now this will come with a gasket. Goes around here, seals it up so it don't get a vacuum leak. Spring goes in just like that with the rubber seal there. Then you'll just put this piece on. Okay, I don't have the other two screws. I think I lost them because I've had this for a while. I'll have to go get some tomorrow most likely, but basically that's how the top hat goes on. And then you'll loosen this nut up and you can actually tighten the spring tension in here, which will keep it shut longer, which will bump your fuel pressure up, making 240cc injectors more like 300cc injectors or something like that. There's a whole math to it, but yeah, this should help bump the fuel pressure up and get more out of it. All right, so we went and got the Allen bolts from Ace, but we're gonna go back and try to find an adapter that goes on the bottom of this so we can put a fuel gauge on it. Matt's running over here. He's the one with the Bedline Blue B16 four-door. And he has an Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator, but there's something wrong with it, so he's just gonna steal the gauge off of it. I would use that one, but this one works. So we're just gonna get the adapter and see if we can put a fuel gauge on it so we know what fuel pressure we're at. But there it is. There you go. Got it. But we're gonna head to Ace now. All right, so this was kind of a challenge. Don't mind the neighborhood kids in the background, they're super loud. But right here we have the factory fuel rail. I ended up having to cut it right here, so that way it would thread in the bottom here, and I put a brand new O-ring. So this can thread right into where I pulled it out from, down there, as you can see. And it threaded right into this T-piece. This T-piece is so we can actually see the fuel pressure. We got this all tightened down. This is all tightened and snugged down. So this here is an 1/8, so it's an 8 fitting. And these here are 12 by 1.25, I believe is exactly what it was. Hard to find this T-piece, but they do make them. So now we're just gonna go ahead and screw this on to the factory location. We'll hook a vacuum line up and we'll see exactly what the fuel pressure's at. Okay, got the fuel pressure regulator and the gauge on right here. I'm gonna have my wife go ahead and prime it. Okay, sitting right about 50 PSI with it off. Go ahead and prime it again. Okay, then I'm gonna have her start it. It should be around 60 PSI with the setup the way I want it. So go ahead. Okay, so it was right around 60 PSI, which is exactly where I want it, so no need to adjust it. But to adjust it, we would actually go ahead up here, loosen this nut, put some pliers on there, and twist it. While it's running, you can see the fuel pressure. This one is about 45-50 PSI from the factory, so 60 is just a little bit more, so hopefully that gives the injectors a little more volume and flow. So I didn't see any leaks or anything, that's why I have this towel here to catch any fluid. So I'm gonna go and take it out and see if the air fuel ratios are any richer. So here we go. Well, the way everything's looking, it means I can go up just a hair more on boost. So I'm gonna pull off over here, raise the boost up a little bit, and we'll try again. Okay, so right here, the bolt that I put on, it is tightened it down as far as I can get this one, so we'll have to swap this one out. But right now it's around 4.5 PSI, something like that. And I just turned the fuel pressure up to, looks like this says almost 70. So we'll go out and see exactly what it does. Hopefully we got some more fuel, and then we can turn it up to 5. Are you ready? Yeah. All right, let's go do it. Yeah, that definitely rides a lot better and pulls way harder. Here, I'm gonna do another little pull. Jeez.
That feels so much harder than factory.
That's crazy, man. And the torque on this thing is insane.
Yeah.
All right, drives absolutely incredible. It's such a smooth ride, and this is where the bolt is sitting right now. We can actually go just a little less on that, and it would just be right at 5 psi, because it's a smidge, very light over. So what do you think about it?
That was awesome. So, I mean, we went to turn around, and you guys didn't see this part of the video, but like, it handles like the bumps and stuff off-road, super smooth. The whole ride, everything is really smooth. Feels like a factory Pilot. And then when he steps on the gas, you hear that supercharger whine, and it's awesome. It pulls you back in the seat, and it pulls way harder than a factory Pilot. It pulls harder than my Odyssey, which is usually quicker than a Pilot. So.
Yeah, definitely, because they don't have the all-wheel drive system. And by the way, the all-wheel drive system is still hooked up. You can verify it's all there.
Yep.
If I do disconnect the all-wheel drive system, this thing will gain so much more power just because it's not putting it to the rear wheels and all that. Yep. Yeah, this thing's definitely pulling really good at 4 psi. We did turn it up to 5 psi, so here's a little video clip of that. 5 psi, it's too lean. It's in the 13s. You want to be in the 1190s to 12.1 area. I talked to my buddy Michael. He prefers 1190s to 12.0s. But he said where it's at is fine for like passing, just not racing or anything. But we don't plan on racing the Pilot around. We do plan on taking it to the dyno, so we'll probably have the boost right around 4 psi, which is where this little bolt is right now. That's at about 4 psi, dead even. And when that's tightened all the way down, because I put this bolt in here and took the factory Allen out, but when that's tightened all the way down, that's 5.1 psi. So it's really good the way where it is right now. If you wanted to go for 5 to 7, I definitely recommend putting the K24 injectors in here, because they are like 280 or 310 cc's. So they would definitely flow plenty of fuel, and you probably wouldn't even need to turn the fuel pressure up for that. I don't know until I test it, which I think we will test that coming up in the future for sure. We have almost 200,000 miles on here. It's holding strong.
Yeah, the transmission didn't feel weak at all. There was no stuttering, no slipping, nothing when we were shifting. It's solid. Yeah,
it's great. We will be putting a transmission cooler in that will increase the longevity of the transmission. Honda actually recommends this. This Pilot from the factory tows 3,500, I believe, pounds. And if you go to Honda and you get the transmission upgrade kit, which is basically the transmission cooler, and you put fresh transmission fluid, do not flush it. We were talking about this.
Drain and fill.
Drain and fill. Do not flush these transmissions. They're a low flow transmission. That also causes issue with the transmissions. And some people just go, I need a flush, and they'll take it and they'll flush it, and then they have issues down the road. So if you just drain this, put fresh Honda transmission fluid in it, whatever they recommend from the factory, then it should be good to go. But transmission cooler installed will make it go from 3,500 pound towing capacity to 5,000 pound towing capacity. It's really cool. You can look this information up. There's plenty of info out there about it. But when we go on the dyno to see what this thing's pushing, the front wheel drive is just going to be hooked up. Everyone's like, you don't have to disconnect the drive shaft, which is true. You could just pull the fuse that's right over here for the 4-wheel drive. But I want the whole rotating mass off there just to see what the engine to the front wheels make. Then obviously with it connected, it's going to be a little bit less because it's distributing it. But yeah, definitely made progress. Maybe in the future we'll put the K24 injectors in. No promises. I think it's great.
Saying maybe.
I say maybe because this is the daily. I don't want to blow it up. You know what I mean? I put 7 pounds.
That. You just wait. 6 months, he's going to have a smaller pulley on here, pushing 20 pounds through this thing. Yeah.
That thing's going to be fun if I did that.
Yeah.
But the intake manifold would have to go if I do that, you know? For more, because that's not a very good, efficient setup for if you're wanting to go purely fast.
No, but you already know how to do it.
Right, I do. But 2.5-inch exhaust on here. We got the EGR working, no check engine light from that. Also, map sensor is just connected to block the hole. We have the map sensor actually ran up here, as you can see, with a vacuum line. and that is hiding the boost. We had it down there, we plugged it in, check engine light instantly came on, it acted stupid, said map sensor issue. So we have to hide the boost now. If you had an AEM and you were able to adapt it, you're able to touch that after those pulls.
It's not even, I mean, it's warm, but it's not hot.
That's crazy. I love this setup.
It's really clean. I can't believe how much factory it is. Like, there's, you know, okay.
Stock throttle, stock cruise control. I mean, the only thing that's really different is we put a fuel pressure regulator on it.
Right.
It has a Walbro fuel pump in the tank.
Yep.
A relay on the fuel pump so that way it can keep constant voltage.
Right. The belt.
The belt, and the supercharger and adapter plate. So, yeah, definitely made progress, and I hope this video made all you guys as happy as it did me, because the air fuels, they are on the little bit leaner side at the 5 pounds, but that's as simple as backing this off just a little bit, put it at 4, and the air fuels are perfect. So, I mean, even 4 PSI is great.
Oh, yeah.
And it's loads of torque.
Yeah, it's so much quicker than factory. Like, you can't see it on the camera. Like, I know it's just when you have a big vehicle like this, a heavy sucker, and you can feel it pull you back in the seat and the front end starts climbing up, it's totally different in person than it is on camera.
Exactly, guys. I'm not claiming this is a race car. It's super fast. I just wanted to be, you know, different. Have the pilot.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun, and that's what it's about. At the end of the day, it's not I'm better than you. There's a lot of people are saying, "Oh, mine's faster." Well, I'm sure yours is faster. You know what? But this is unique. This is the first Honda Pilot like this.
Right. I mean, if we wanted to go really fast, we just hop in the Civics and just go.
Right. Yeah, the
Civic's
way faster.
Yeah.
But we'll have to race them someday. Ooh.
Yeah.
A video.
That's fun.
Okay. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely stay tuned, guys. I'm going to get this on the dyno as soon as I possibly can, just so we have a number. Numbers to me don't really matter. I know a lot of people are wanting to know what it pushes, so I'll go and get a video for you guys of that once we have it set up to front wheel drive and take the rear drive shaft out. But yeah, making progress. So definitely stay tuned for the next video. We will have more videos coming out, and I guess that's it for this one. So I'll see you guys in the next one. As I like to say, God bless, stay safe, stay awesome.